So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's class. Um, just a bit of um, what we have been doing so far and how far we have come. So, you're looking at my work, my screen currently, there's going to be some awkward things that I was working on. Is I shouldn't have done that. I think I have extra columns here, but you can just neglect it and we'll all be fine. So, coming from the last class, um, we did a few things, right? So we separated, sorry, someone is trying to log in. Um, sorry, hold on, trying to admit someone into this call. Okay, that's it. Yeah, so in the last class, we I think I separated the table the SQL file for table creation and creating tables. So I'm just trying to separate what like make our work distinct. So in case you need to perform a specific task, yeah, you just have your different SQL file to handle that. So it's going to be like if you want to create tables, you have a table, you have an SQL to another sheet to that. I think I have it. I closed it. Let me just open it back. Open SQL script. Yes. So this is it. So I sent it to the group. So here it's just simple as creating and inserting the values. So probably you're working with a new sheet. You can just take this and run this, select everything and run it, and everything populates. So, but what really worked on last class was on trying to adjust this. Okay, yes, yeah, yeah. So what we really worked on last class was DQL, and I think I mentioned DQL. DQL is data query language. So data query language is basically the aspect of SQL that is used for querying, um, sending queries to your database, basically. So you use it to send queries to your database, you get results. Um, mostly it's mostly important on answering questions. So you have a particular questions that you want to answer from you have a particular question you want to answer based on the data you have. You can just run your query based on that question and you have your answers, you have your view. So if you sorry, another person is trying to join. So if you we ran a few scripts, we had a few questions, just bit of bits, and that was what we tried to do. So in the process of doing that, we actually I introduced a new some set of new SQL statements, and of course we are familiar with selects from. We've been working with that from the beginning, even though we didn't really have proper understanding of what it is. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay, so even though we really have a proper understanding, but in the last class we talked about select. So select is basically like you want to select all of these words are English like all of the SQL commands. Yeah. Oh, sorry, most of them actually. So most of them are English like statements that from the statement itself you can tell what that statement is going to do. So select is like you want to pick some certain things, right? And from is like you want to pick it from something. So it's like you want to select some things from a maybe a bag. So I think an example is you want to uh select all the materials or all the things or all the gadgets from a tech bros bag. So if he has a bag, there's going to be a laptop, there's probably going to be an headset, a power bank, charger, What else? Probably digital camera. So probably you're trying to select. So that's like select all from. Then we use group by. So group by is more of like you want to group the things you are trying to select. Now you use group by with aggregations. So there, okay, I'll come back to that. I'll come back to group by. Let me just go to order by. So order by, what order by does? Order by is more of like a sorting algorithm. Sorry, sort, just the word sort. We did it in Excel, yeah. So where we talked about sorting. So basically that's what order by does, and this allows you to sort your table or your view based on the columns that you select. So if you are selecting a column, you actually order by that particular column. You sort your values based on that column. If you select two columns, what will happen is it will first of all order it by the first column you select. Then when they are now similar rows, right, or similar identity in the on what you've ordered by the first column, then it will now use the second column to reorder them. So I think a good example of that is, I think when we're trying to check, so let me just see, find, yeah, this part. So that says find all employees ordered by sex, then first name. So this will order it's first by the sex, and when they are reoccurring or similar items, it's going to use the second one. So I'm just going to run this. Then you'll see that on this list now, on this table, you can see the this table is ordered by the sex, by the gender. That's female first, followed by male. But if you look at the female, you find out that now is also ordered by the first names, and the gender is also ordered by the first name. So if I had not put appended the second column, that's the first name, to order it by this first name also, this first name will not actually be in order. It will just be ordered by sex, by this gender. That's all. So so those are scenarios where you can use multiple order by statements. Then the where, so this is supposed to be a comma. Yes, so the where is, it works more like a flitter. So you use it in applying flitters. So when you want to flitter, let's say you need to flitter for what examples? So let's say you need to flitter based on a certain statement. For instance, let's say you want just people that their salaries are above 100,000, right? Or people, employees that their salary is below 50,000. So those are where you can use flitter. I think another example is can flitter by their gender. Yes, so you can flitter based on, based on maybe the first name, the employee ID, depending on what questions is being asked. Then limits is used in reducing. It's also more of like, would I call it a flitter? But you use it in restricting the view, right? So if you want like the top five of your rows, let's assume you have 1,000 rows. If you just want the top five, so this is going to limit is going to just return the top five rows. So if you have filtered your row based on some certain values, let's say you filter based on let me see, you filter based on the salary. So from the highest to the lowest, and you just want to see the top five, right? So limits can help you do that. So limits is just going to give you the top five of all the statements, all the queries. Then we have this three. That's why we have average. AVG stands for average. Count stands for, okay, let me talk about AVG first. So average, what does average do? How does it work? So it basically just checks the average of a numerical column. I think we should still remember numerical column, categorical column from Excel. So average actually works, it performs an average on your numerical column. So for instance, now I can perform an average on salary, I cannot perform average on birthday because it is date time. Employee ID, it won't be proper to do it because that's not going to be it's not going to make any sense, right? So you can perform average on, let's say, salary, sales price, things like that. So then we also have counts. So counts is basically used to count. So you count the number of items. So it doesn't return to you a table. It returns to you an integer, just a single value. So if you're counting for all the rows, or let's say you are filtered and you have sorted, then you want to count, let's say based on your filter, right? So it's going to, that's where it comes in. Then sum also works in a similar way to the average. Um, it's used for summing up values together. For instance, I mentioned salary, sales price, profit price. Just remember the tables that we use in Excel then. So you use your sum there. Now, these three, right, they are classified under the aggregates functions or statements. So we call them aggregates because in a way they work in, you can use them in line with the group by. So you can use it to group your data. For instance, now I think in the last class we did something like, okay, so we want to see the average salaries between the male and the female. So we selected sex, that's the gender. Then we use average on salary as average. So this as is stands for more of like an alias. So you're trying to set an alias for something. So you don't want it to come out as this. So you just set another name for it. But it's only temporary. It's only within the query statement that you're writing. So it's only valid inside of this place. So when I do as average, so it's not going to appear as this on my table. It's going to appear as average. So that's what this part is doing. Then from ijan class company dot employee and group by sex. So I think I can run this, and so here's what you get. So you have your gender, right, on this side, then you have your average. So what has happened here is um this is a group by, this is an example of a group by. So you perform the aggregation. So I can actually remove this group by here, right? And let me see. So removing it and running this. Sorry. Okay, I'm not supposed to have 6. So running this, I'm going to have sorry, this one is all covered. 1 second. Okay, so running this now, I'm just going to get average of salary, like the whole salary. But right, I don't want to just have an average. I want to see it based on maybe a particular column, like I would say the row, or I could say the gender. The gender is a good example. That's why we used it. So we can group by. So before you now, when you want to use the group by, because like I mentioned, it can be a bit tricky. So you have to use a column. So this is a column in the data. So I'm grouping it by this column. But then this column is not included in what I've selected. So I have to include it in it to group it by it. So when it's coming out, it's going to group it based on this, and I'm going to see the outputs, which is why I have to include this like this. And here we have it. I think we can also do based on supervisor ID. Um, well, this is more like a continuation from the last class. So um, let me just, so if I'm going to use, oh sorry, not this, yeah. So I'm just going to do it group based on the supervisor ID. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to take this out. So it's going to be based on super ID, and I have super ID here. You can put as supervisor. Yes. So just by the way, okay, let me just do this first, and now you can see it now. So you have null. There's a supervisor that there's someone that doesn't actually have a supervisor. So you can see null, and you are saying these are the other supervisors, and these are the average salaries based on the supervisor. So if you are under the supervisor, you know that your salary is going to be around this price. If you're under the supervisor, you know your salary is going to be around this price. If you're under the supervisor, now you know where your salary ranges. So that's more of like a question. You're answering that part of the question. Um, Average of salaries based on supervisor. Um, I think another thing we could do here is we can actually sort this, right? So you can sort it in a way that uh, it's easier to read. So we want the lowest to come first. So we can use, so that will be order by, um, order by average salary. Sorry, salary. So I'm going to order it based on this, and when I order, now you can see that the order has changed. So now it's more easier to read. Now I could even add more and say, okay, I just want the top three. I don't want everything. And what do I do here? I just have to use limits, and this will give me the top three. And I run this, and now I can see the top three. So here is the top three without having to see everything. So here I've used, okay, yeah, I didn't use everything, but you can just see how I was able to pull this off. So the question here would have now been average sorry, average salaries of employee based on supervisor. So if you see your supervisor here, so you can just say top um top three, or is it the lowest? The top lowest three average salaries of employee based on supervisor. So I probably get the idea of all of this. So that's just an example with order by and this. And I think I talked about this. Now the last one here is distinct. Distinct. So distinct is used to use it and just getting unique values from a particular set of data. So more of like you need the unique values of set. So if you look at our old table where we have select all from, sorry, from employee. Yeah, that's true. So we decided to stick with employee throughout last class, so we could just have a better understanding. So if you look at this now, we have on the gender we have just two um gender, that's male and female. On SPID, we have few, they are unique. So we can run our unique statement on this. So you can call the distinct function on these columns. So you could just say, so rather than say select all, so let's assume I think we did sex. Let's check for super ID. So on super ID, so before that, you just put so normally if you call this, what you get is all the super IDs, all the supervisor IDs. But we don't want that. We just want the distinct one, right? We don't want repetition. So we use the word distinct. And when you call this now, here you have null, of course. You have 100, you have 102, and you have 106. So those are the distinct supervisors ID. You could also do the same thing for I think we have, let me see again, what do we have again? I think it's 8. Just want to see the things that we have. Okay, you could do it on branch too. Yes, you could do it on the branch ID. So you're going to get is just 1, 2, 3. That's all. Now, we are going to see the relevance of that as we probably proceed into this class. But I think so far so good. That was all the things that we did in the last class. Yeah. So, any questions before we proceed? You want to pump me now? Okay, so assuming there's no questions. Oh, well understood. Before I proceed, okay. So let's move on. Um, yeah. So I said I was going to say something. So it happened that one of us had was trying to debug um SQL scripts, and of course I didn't. When I saw it the first time, I felt like, oh, this is what should have been the issue. Then the person corrected it, and it wasn't correct, and then I caught it straight up. Like it was easy for me to catch it when I just paid attention to it. So in that case, let me just open a new script. Maybe I'll save this. Send it. But let me open another one. That'll be class 5. So now let's look at an entire a new script. So I'm just going to write something real quick. Select from work suites, then limits to 5. Okay, so I'm just going to run this. Wow. Oh, okay. So can anyone look at this and just try and see where the error, see if they'll be able to tell me what this error is coming from or what's causing this error? Just take a look at it in their responses.
Maybe the schema.
Nope. The schema exists. Everything is the schema is currently existing. So it's not the schema. And by the way, it's if you check this part of the table, you see that table is works with. So it currently recognizes that I am in IJAN class component and I'm trying to work with this table. So anybody else wants to try again? I'm waiting. I need like 2 persons to talk.
Are you not selecting from the employee?
Well, I'm choosing a different table.
Okay.
And the table is works with. The table exists. Here it is.
The ID of, I don't know. I mean, talk nonsense.
Okay, so yeah, thank you. You've all tried. So there are 2 ways to debug. Actually, I think 3. The third one is not the conventional way. Third one is it just came up now, not like what people use normally. I think it's even 4. Well, let me just retreat to 3. Now, the first one is using this part of the code. This you have outputs. I think when you're working, maybe some database DBMS tools gives you the luxury of seeing your outputs, maybe to see if it's successful or not. I think I mentioned this earlier in one of the classes that you have this duration and fed to show you the speed of your data or how fast you are transacting with your data. Yeah, it's called transactions. Then so this part of this code, if you look at it, um kind of tells you all of these have been error code 1064. You have an error in your SQL, da da da. Of course, I can't see everything. Um, but it actually means something. So I think okay, as I'm staying on it, I'm able as there's a pop-up coming up. You might not be able to see it. But it actually means something. But the other fastest way to debug an SQL code is when you put your SQL code, there's this lines that tells you, you see this red, is it red? I think it's red, it's supposed to be red anyways. Um, this X that lets you know that something is wrong and it's around here. So now it might not necessarily be, this does not mean that the error might be on this, but it means that what is going on is from this place. This place is having issues, right? So what do we now do? You now have to observe and look and see, oh, what's going on? Where's this error coming from? So for me, the error is actually coming from this part of the code. So if I take out this comma, see that the error is gone. The reason why you have um, the error on this line is because this line is in a way connected to this, to the previous one, which is why you have it. So when you have your code trying to tell you that, oh, something is wrong, you don't necessarily have to look at that line. All you have to do is check this line and check the one before it, and here you'll be able to find the error. So what happened there was I used a comma, which I shouldn't have used. You don't use a comma at the end of statement. Normally, these are all joins together, right? So if I put it like this, it's still going to work, right? Yes. So the reason why I usually don't put it like this is just a way of understanding the code better and faster, understanding how the code is structured. Sorry, how the query is structured. I apologize for using code, for saying code. So understand how the query is structured easily, right? Because when you're working with complex queries, it tends to be shady, and if you can't structure it better, it's going to be harder to read. So that's why I usually advise, and I prefer to put all of this in caps, so this is well distinguished. So that's one way of debugging your code. And so also, if you look at, if I start another statement here, select all, you can see that sign is still there. Now the sign has gone from, you can see the sign is back there from, let's say, employee now.
Your screen is not showing. No.
Oh, sorry. Just 1 second. My Wi-Fi is gone off. Okay, guess I'll just use hotspot. Just 1 second. Okay, should be coming back anytime soon. Okay, sorry about that. Of my router that went off. Okay, so are we back on track now? Can you also my screen? So is my screen visible now? Okay, thank you. Um, okay, so let's proceed. Where was I? Okay, so I was trying to show you that if I begin on another statement now, you can see that sign is there already. And when it detects that the syntax is not correct, right? That something is wrong, that's when it comes up. So from let's say employee, yeah. So now if I do this and call it, now I just want to bring it distinguished. You can see that these are two different statements. They are working independently because they are not connected, and the reason why they are not connected is because of this semicolon. So if I remove this will give me an error, because in the SQL syntax I cannot have select all from limit and now have select again. It won't work that way. Just to pay attention to it because we need it. So that's why we use this to separate. And the editor here automatically helps me and show me that, oh, this is start of a new statement. This is also the start of another statement. So just another way of working around in our editor, trying to understand it better. When we understand these tools better, we are going to be able to optimize it for whatever use case we have. So I think we have gone far enough. So today's class we are going to be talking about, one thing I'm going to talk about is called wildcards. So wildcards as in wild cards. Yeah. So this is what things we're going to be talking about. And so what's a wild card? A wild card is a means is an I would call it um a pattern. So setting a pattern or an algorithm for searching for something. So when you're trying to search for something, right, and it has a pattern or it's in an unusual way, this is more useful. You use wildcards, and it has two signs. The signs is, the first one is a dollar sign, sorry, a percentage sign, and underscore. So you use these two in SQL, the dollars, the percentage sign, and the um, underscore. Well, the percentage sign is particularly useful when you don't know, the probably a pattern um of the what you're trying to look for. For instance, now I'm trying to get, oh, all the people that their name starts with D, right? So all I'll just have to do is use something like D, then I'll put the percentage sign. Now what will happen is, what this simply means is that gets everything, or what this means is that, oh, I know the first letter I'm trying to look for, but I don't know the rest. So just make sure that there's a D in front of all the values you are trying to look for. So in a situation where you have I think Ctrl Shift A doesn't work. So I'm trying to use this comment that we have. Uh, yeah. So let's assume in a situation where I have Daniel, I have David, I have Deborah, I have Da Vinci. Now in a situation where I have all of this, now I'm going to I need all of this data, or let's say I have other names like Samuel, sorry, Samuel, Samson, am I using S, Emmanuel, and Mary. So let's assume I have all of these names, and I need to get just the names or the data, the names of people that starts with, I know they have D in front of their name, right? So what I'm just going to say is, oh, okay, oh, D and percent sign. So the percent sign means that as many as possible. So far, it starts with a D, right? So this is what it simply means. And when I put a D at the back, it means that, oh, it must start with a D and end with a D. I don't care the number of items that are in the middle, right? So in this situation now, if I use this, I'm going to get only David, because only David starts with the D and ends with the D. If I use just this, I'm going to get the whole of this, right? And if I use just DA, I'm only going to get David, Daniel, and Da Vinci. Now all of this will not come out. Now, but let's say I know the number of space that I want to cover. So for instance, now if you look at birthday, birthday is in a structured format: year dash month dash day, and the day is even from is in two decimal place. They are in tens. Yes, they are in tens. So from 01, 01 to 02, 03, like that, up to 38 or 28 or 29. So in that situation, what I can do is, so let's say I know the number of years. So I'm just going to do this dash dash. First of all, put the knife in, then dash 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 dash. That's four dash, four underscore. Then I put a dash, and let's say I want just people in October. Put a dash, and I put a semi underscore, so underscore. Now what this will do is it will look for places where 10 is appearing in the middle. It means that I don't care what is here. All I want is I know that there's 4 items here and there's 2 items here. But what I'm more concerned with is items where 10 is the month. Now let's write some queries and see what it looks like. So let's start with let's use the employee table. So we are still working with the employee table. So select all. So let's use all from where from employee, right? From employee, where, okay, let me first do this first. So if I run this, wow, I'm getting an error. So what's my error? Where is it coming from? So peeping through this page, I can see that it says you have an error that from employee at line 16. So there's something wrong in line 16, and this is line 16 here. This part is commented out, right? Yeah, so I've seen the error. Oh, what does I've seen it? So it means that before this line there's an issue. So looking at all of this is commented out. So that means are not affecting my code. So has anybody seen what is affecting the code here? What's affecting the query that has prevented it from running? Have you seen it? Please, if you have, you can just help us.
I think line 6. I mean, I think the query on line 5 and 6.
Yeah, query on line 5 and 6.
It doesn't have semicolon.
Yeah, correct. So this is not ended, so I didn't end this here, which affected this. So I'm just going to end it, and can see it's gone. So I'm calling this now, and I'm having my results. So yeah, I don't think we even need the query up there. So I'm trying to reduce this. Oh, come on. Yeah, so I don't need this. It's like repetition, so I just take it off. And yeah, so we have first name, last name, birthday, sex, salary, super ID, and gender. So what we actually want to filter for is, let's start with let's do name, first name. So let me see, we have how many D's? We have one D. I think we have a lot of J. We have three J's. So let's do with J. So we're going to take this and use it with the where statements. Hello? Someone is on mute. Okay. So back to this. So we use this wildcards with the where statement. Of course, you're trying to check for something. So it's going to be places where you have where. Sorry, what's going on? Don't seem to have control of my tab. Okay. I think all of a sudden I don't have control of my workbench. It's not responding. Ah, I think I should close this. I've not closed it in a while. I think in days. So let me just save it somewhere. Save. I'm sorry, just hold on. I think the app is hanging and it's probably my fault. So discard changes, discard. So I'm just going to open it again. MySQL. So let me reshare the connection. Okay, I think we're back on track. So this is what we have been using. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, sounds okay. So I think we are good to go. Let me share this recording. All right, so this is what we are trying. So we are trying to use it with the where statement. So where now this is going to be first name, where first name is like. So you are going to use it with the like keyword. Then you have your wild card here, and you have, I think we're using G and wildcard. I run this. Voila. So can we see it? Wait, what's going on? Okay. All right. So can we see what has now happened? That the first name is now filtered successfully based on what we have declared using the wildcard. So here you can see that now we have J J percentage. So we are going to get everywhere where the first name is J. We don't care what is behind it, like I said. So if you change this now, let's say we try to use D. I don't know if you have a D. Oh, we have just one David. That's a D. So you get that. So basically that's how it works. So you use it with the like keyword. So it's like saying where the first name is like is looking like, yes, I think that's a better description. So where the first name is looking like the it starts with a J. So it's to bring out all the words that ends with a J, right? So let me check this. Let me just put this here. So I just want to run the first one. I want to see, just a scroll. I think we have T. Do we have another T? Yes, we have T and N. We have T and N and R. So now I want to change this syntax. I want to change it to, okay, end with T. So that means to just give me words that's done. Oh, I think I was checking the last name. Last name that ends with C. Right? Yes. So you're going to get, so now I'm applying it at the end. That's okay. Give me or help me check my table and return to me tables that end with C in their last name. So it's going to return that to me. You can see it. So if you want to now, okay, I can change this. I think I saw R. Yes, you can see R. So their last name, what they have in common here is that the last name it ends with an R. So Kapoor, Porter, I think I also saw T. Sorry, C. Yeah, you can see Scots and Harpets. Now, you could also do from start to finish, like I said earlier. So you could do S and C. So having to do this, you're going to get Scots because Scots starts with S and ends with a T. So let me see if there's one that has multiple column. Maybe we don't really have a lot of names here. James, Andy, Josh, AY, Stalin, SY, Kelly, Jan. We don't really have ones that are like. So yeah, there's another thing we could also do. So after doing this, right? Okay, so let's work with the other one. That's the other wildcard. That's using underscore. So what's wrong here? Okay, I didn't close this. Yeah, close it here. So now let's work with the underscore. So in that case, we're not going to be using last name again. We're going to be using birthday. So where birthday looks like, so the way it's supposed to go, like I said, underscore. So this is, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4 dash. Then I'm going to put 10. So 10 is like February, sorry, October. Then dash the dates. So I don't know the dates. I want just give me everything that is in October, right? And I run this. So you're going to get this, and you see that, oh, only Jim Harper's birthday is in October. So this is like a way of filtering for people's birthday. You need all the people's birthday that is in more January. You need for February. You need for March. You need for June, July to December. So you could do it like this. So you can easily tweak this and say, okay, we just want for February, and you run this. So you can see, oh, Kelly and Stanley's birthday is actually in February. So that's a way to do that. So all we have to do was declare 4 underscore here. That is the first 4 variable here, we don't know it, followed by a dash, followed by the dates, the particular one we are looking for, then a dash, and followed by 2 underscore, which signifies the date. So we actually don't care. So you could also change this and flip it. You could do this. So when you do this now, it's going to bring out everything. So it means that, oh, just give me everything that looks like this. So this is covering everything. You're actually not filtering for anything here when you use it like this. So if I change this to 1 now, let me see. So I should get something interesting. Yeah, so it's giving me the days, the birthday, the employees that their birthday ends with 1 on the day. So maybe 31st, 21st, 1st, right? I think those are the only first we have. So it's going to give me then, and you can see luckily for us we have Jan and Jim, right? So we could do something else. So we could say where this is this, then we could say order by order order by first name. So first name. So I'm ordering by the first name, but I want it in descending. Yes, DESC. I didn't talk about that. So DESC is a keyword for descending. I think I mentioned that here. Why ESC is ascending. So of course this is already in ascending order. That's from start to finish, from top to bottom. Jan and Jim, which is why I was more interested in descending order. So if I use descending order here, sorry, yeah. So you can see this has flipped. It is now Jim, then Jan. So there you go with wildcards. Now you could also use multiple names. I could bring these two together, bring these two statements together. So to do that, I'm just going to include it in my where statements, and let's have another section for that. So select all from employee where the bot. So let's remove this last one. So where the birthday is like is ending with first, then we could say or. So I hope you remember what or means. So or means that either of the two, or the last name, like sorry, like S, then percentage sign, then C, and close your quotes. There you go, no errors, no syntax error. Then where you run this, here we go. So we have Jan, we have Michael, and we have Jim. So here I've applied both. So I says if this is valid, return it to me, and also this. So it's going to check on the table, in the employee table, where birthday looks like this, and also where last name also looks like this. So but if I don't use or, if I decide to use and, so let me see, okay, so I don't want to clean this off, so I can't use it. So let's imagine I want to use and. So and means that both will be valid, so it will return for both. So let's say the birthday is ending with the first, then that means we have this two. So I want to say and the last name is starting with H. So let's say starting with, sorry, yeah, H. So in this situation now, if I run this, I'm going to get just Jim. So here I've successfully applied two filters, one for birthday and one for the last name. So it's giving it to me based on this. So for this and, it means that these statements and these statements are all valid in this query. But for this, it means that either of this or this is valid for this view. So that's what all means. Then had means both are currently valid. So think yes, that's one of the where. So yeah, still on the flitter. So just one more thing before we close for flitter. We also have, aside like, we have something else we could use. So let me use this just so as not to waste time. Now, so let's say we want to filter based on, so we have some set of values, right? Let me see. So here's our table. So let's say we have a set of names, right? So let me just write out a set of names. So let's say David, Jan, Martin. No, Martin is not the first name. Kelly. Then let me write out some other people's last name. Potter, Odson, and Alpert. Yes, so I have these three names. Now let's assume that we want to get values. We want to see those. We don't know what is contained in our table, but we want a filter where these names are present. So let's say you got a request from your company or from the HR that, oh, there's a set of guys that are currently that needs to be monitored. So you only have their first name, probably don't have their IDs, right? So okay, I think you can use the ID. We'll test on IDs. So you have their first names, that alone, and you need to find them in the database. So what do? All you have to do is come to select all from the employee, where this so where first name, that's their first name. So first name in this. So I'm going to put this and this, and I put the comma. Yes. So hold on. Okay, sorry. Yes. So if I should run this now, what will come out, what will be displayed is a table where the first name, where these values are contained in the first name. So if you check this, you see that we are getting David, Jan, and Kelly. But of course, we are lucky because David, Jan, and Kelly are only repeating once. So if there are multiple David, there are multiple Jan, there are multiple Kellys, we are going to be seeing more than one. Well, that's why I said we are very lucky. So you can use this. So you just use where first name in this set of values. So if this set of values are present or not, for instance, if I had a strange one like Shegun is strange, but I'm not going to get any errors. I'm going to still get this. And if I should even clean out all of this and not include Shegun and include only Shegun, I'm going to get an empty table. I'm not going to get an error. It's just going to be an empty table that, oh, Shegun is not present. I can't find a place, or I can't find a record where Shegun is the first name. So I'm just going to undo this and put this. I think I should leave the Shegun. Yeah. So I could also do for multiple. I think I had last names here. So I'm just going to do for the last names too. So we are going to have it. So let's even do it in conjunction. So let's say and last name in. So we have Potter, we have Odson, and we have Alpets. So end this and no errors, then run this. Okay, so I use and, right? So it's going to check for where the first name is this and the last name is this. So more of like, if the first name is going to find this, but then it's going to compare it to this. So I'm not supposed to use and, I'm supposed to use or. And let's see. Yeah, so we now have first names here. So you can see there's David, there's Jan, there's Kelly. There's also last names where we have Alpert, where we have Potter, where we have Odson. So one of this is valid. But of course, the first one did not run because we don't have anything like David Wallace. So let's assume I had Wallace here. Wallace. And I change this to and I decide to run this. I'm going to get one value because there's a name, there's a record where David is the first name, and another record somewhere on that same record where Wallace is the last name. So it means there's David Wallace. If there's another Wallace, let's say Jan Wallace, maybe they are brothers. It's going to come out, right? So I'm just going to take this out and put it back to all, and here we go. Now, and there's something interesting here. You can see that this line is already getting too lengthy, right? It's not going to help it's not going to help us in any way. So one thing that we can do is to break this. And what do I mean? So instead of having it like this, I could have first name and put it like this, and put all, and put this like this. So you can see that it's much more easier to read it this way. So there's no point going to the extra side to figure out what's on the other side. So you can just say, oh, select all from employee where first name in this or last name in this. And if I want to be more technical, I could do something like this. So you can see that there's an or. It's so obvious. So like this, it's very easy, very visible, very easy to see what is going on, what that statement is actually doing, what is actually going on in that particular statement. So that's just by the way. So when your code, your queries is getting lengthy, you can just break it based on the keywords. So I use the keyword, so where first name in this or this and this. I could have actually said something like, I could say something like, oh, maybe in, then put this under here, and put this here, put it under here. So it just breaks it. So it just make everything just so that you can easily see it. But I think I'll just stick with this. Yeah. So not to make it extra messy. So okay, so any questions? Let's pause a bit. Let me see. Any questions? Are we still here following? Don't take me back, or I should proceed. Okay, hi Justice. I can't hear you. Yeah, I can, but it's okay. Go on. I, I don't know. Justice, your mic is a bit far from your mouth. Like, I think very far.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think it's a bit better.
Okay. My, my that I know I'm caught up so many times because I've been disconnected. So I'm just trying to catch up, but I believe I will. So maybe that I'm not responding.
Oh, oh, that's fine. It's not a problem. I think the videos are there to catch up, and I'm always available. Or almost always available. Let me put it that way. So, but it's actually fine. No problem with that. Okay, so I think we can journey further, right? So let's go. So I think we treated quite a number of things. So I'm about to take us into another aspect. So we have been working with employee table, whereas I think we have some other tables. We know that they are connected together. So now we are going to be, I think, in a few space of time left, I'm going to be taking us through something called joins. So it's called join. Yeah, so well, it's basically used to merge two tables together or multiple tables together. And there are several. Okay, let me first stay on that. So a join statement is used to merge two tables together. So for instance, I think I created a schema one time like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and um I think we create it real quick. I think I showed us how to create it. So basically there's a schema. So here it is that shows how what connects this table together. I think these other ones are not connected. You know, I was playing with the data. So this is a schema that will show how these tables are connected. Oh, I think I like this. This is even more connected than usual. So this schema, like I said, it shows how the connection between the tables. I think this is here. Yeah. So let me see. This is connected to this. This is connected to this. I think it's also connected to. Is there any connection between this? Oh, this is not part of it. So it's just. Let me see. Is this part of it? Ah, my goodness. This is not also part of it. Yeah, I think it's just five. So I'm going to bring them together. Um, then think this. Yeah, and still like this. Okay, so these are the connection between all the tables, right? Now, the connections are useful when you want to join the tables together, when they have the same things. For instance, we are going to be doing something simple. So we are going to be starting with employee and branch. So there's a branch table and there's an employee table. The branch table has the branch ID, the branch name, the manager ID, the manager start dates. Now, this table is connected to the employee table through from the branch ID to the employee ID because the branch manager is also an employee in the company. So what connects the two tables together is the manager ID on the branch and the employee ID on the employee table. Now, now let's go back to so all of the other tables have connections. For instance, from branch to supplier, the branch ID is a connector. From the branch ID to the client, um, the branch ID and the client ID is the connector between with this. So the client ID connects this to this. Okay, workspace connects employee ID to this table, and client ID connects from this table to this table. So they all have connections. One way or the other, the tables are connected. So now let's go back to our script. So now basically now this join helps you to bring the values together, to bring what you have on those tables together into a single table. So if you want to see, let's say the employee table, the employee details together with the branch details to see their branch, who their branch is, you can do that. And to do that, we are going to be using the join statements. So before I just go into the implementations, there are four types of join. There's the inner join, there's a left join, there's a right join, and the last one, though it's not functionally implemented in SQL, but it's also a type of join. That's the outer, sorry, it's the full or outer join. So we have two types of join. We have the inner join, we have the left join, we have the right join, we have the full or outer join. So what is the right? What is an inner join? So inner join is more of like when you have. So I'm going to use an example, a practical example, then we'll implement it. So let's look at a situation where we have let me see. I think I like to use students a lot, right? So let's assume we have a class in a school, let's say from SS1. Maybe I'm a teacher, so there's a class SS1. So they have SS1A, they have SS1B, they have SS1C. They are split into three classes, maybe public school, government school. And in the first class, right, in SS1A, so in SS1A, let me include this since I'll be using a lot of comments. So that's /8. I think you have this very handy because it helps a lot. So we have SS1A, and in SS1A class, there are students that do biology, chemistry, maths, English, and physics. Now in SS1B, we have students that have, I think, literature in English. Literature in English. We have people that they also do maths, English, and um, let's say governments. Yeah, governments. Then in SS1C, we have students that offer commerce, bookkeeping, then maths and English. Of course, English is like math and English is like very compulsory for everybody. So in this situation now, we want to merge this class together, SS1 to SS1C. I want to describe the different joins. Now, in a situation like this, we need to join the students together, and we want to use inner join. So inner join means we want to merge these three classes together. We want to merge these classes together based on what they have in common, what is appearing in all of them. And if you look at this, the only thing that is appearing in all of them is maths and English. So that means, sorry. So using inner join will merge only, so the result will be maths and English. So that's what inner join will do. It will merge all of these based on what they have in common, what is present in all of them, right? Now, if you're going to use left join is, let's say you have SS1A. So to describe that, I'm going to do like this. So let's say you have SS1A here, you have SS1B here, and you have SS1C. This is the arrangement. So in this situation, this is on the left, this is on the mid, this is in the middle, this is on the right, this is the rightmost, this is the leftmost. Now merging this will be SS1A. So I want to put in something in common. So let's say SS1B are privileged to offer biology. So I'm just making a bit of change to this. Then let's say these guys are privileged to offer physics. Now, in this situation, the left join is going to take the ones, it will have this. So we're going to have all of this, SS1A, everything. Then it will now go to SS1B and pick what is in SS1B and add it to SS1A. So biology is going to be in this left join. You're going to have biology there. You have everything you have in SS1A, but the values that are now going to be coming from SS1B into SS1A are just going to be maths, biology, and English, because maths and biology and English, they are in this place. Then if you are going to add SS1C to this together, you're now going to have maths, English, and physics. So these are the records. Sorry. So these are the records that are actually going to be added to SS1A because I'm using left join. Or if I was using right join, so you can expect what will happen here. So right join means that this is on the rightmost. So it's going to have all of these records in it. And so SS1B will come into SS1C. So what is coming from SS1B will only be maths and English. That's the only thing that's going to come from SS1B. Then what's going to come from SS1 is going to be maths, English, and physics. Because this has physics, maths, and English. So that's what's going to be added to this. Now, while the outer join or full join can guess what it will do. So this is going to add everything together from biology. It's going to have everything. Biology is going to have literature in English, all of this. So don't worry about the and statements. Let's just merge this together. Sorry. Then this. So here's a good example of what I explained the last time. So we're already having two lengthy words, so you can just break it and bring this here, then break this and put it here. You can use space here to make them formatted properly. So yes, so you can have this. So this is everything that is going to be inside it. So I think maths and English is already written, so just remove all the maths and English and maths here, just for maths. Remove this and clean this off, remove this, put the space, and here we go. So this is everything that's going to be inside full join. So now you can see what is happening. So if all these things can be applied to the tables we have. So now let's begin with our tables. So employee, so let's start with something simple. Let's just do employee and branch first. So I'm just going to have select all from employee, then join. I call the join. So because I want to join it, I want to join another thing. So normally if I call just this, I'm going to get everything from employees, but I want something added to it. So I'm going to say join the branch table. Now I'm going to join the branch table, but I want it to be based on something. They have something in common, and what is that? They have the employee ID in the employee column is the same thing with the branch ID, the manager ID, sorry. So I'm going to say on branch on employee dot employee ID equals to branch dot mgr manager ID. So let's just see what this results was. Here we go. So you can see here now that we have employee ID, first name, last name, birthday, sex, salary, super ID, branch ID. This is from the first table, and this is from the second table, where we have branch ID 1, 2, 3, branch name, corporate. So you can see that it's now merged together. But there's something here. We are not getting everything in full. We are only getting place where the employee ID is equals to the branch ID. So there's only 3 branch IDs, and I'm sorry, there's only 3 manager IDs. That's 100, 102, and 106. And that's what we're also getting here. 100, 102, 106. We're not getting the refs. Now, that's because we're using the default join, and the default join is also known as the inner join, right? I don't think it allows the statements inner join. Does it? Oh, yeah, it does. So you can use inner join. So inner join or join, they are still the same thing. Now, to now describe, you can also select, right? Now, I'm going to do something. So I'm going to say, put an E in front of this. I think I did this and put a B in front of this. Now, what I've done here means that I'm setting an alias for the table. Normally, if you want to set alias for columns, you use as. But to set alias for table, you just need to put the word in front of it, whatever you want to do. So I can easily change this from employee to E, and I can change it to B. It's still going to work. You can see that. Even if I change it back to branch and employee and I call this, it's still going to work. Sorry. Okay, I guess not. Okay, I guess that's changed it. So it's now recognizing it as E. So I guess that's why it's not picking it up. So should I? Okay, let me leave it as this. So here we go. So we have it as so we now have the two tables merged together, right? Now there's something wrong in this table, and what is that? We have
Please, oh, this join is not entering. No.
okay. Maybe I'll let me just take it again. So let me see. Someone just dropping the message. Oh God. Okay.
Baba, this this join is
It's not joining,
difficult.
Abby.
It's hey.
Ah, you guys are making me laugh.
I swear it was those words that I heard. I just opened my eyes.
Are you serious? Oh my
Ah,
God.
this
Okay.
join. Okay, okay. Oh.
Don't
I
worry,
just said
it's
it.
going to join. It to join. So let's see. So now the idea behind join is as simple as joining two tables together. So like joining table A and table B together. That's all. That's basically just the idea behind join. Um, you have two tables, two different tables. We have employee. Let's look at First Bank. First Bank has a table called employee. They have another table called branch table. So in that table, in the branch table, they have all their branches in it, the records of their branch. In the employee table, they have all the records of their employee on it. Now, every manager in that branch table, there's a manager ID there because every branch has a manager. So there's a manager ID on that table. But if you also remember, you remember that as a branch manager, you are also an employee of that table, of that company. That means your record, the manager ID is also present on the employees table as an employee because it's an employee first before he became a manager, right? Now, if you want to now bring those tables together, so you want to see who, because on the branch table you're not going to have first name and last name. So on the branch table, you want to see what is the name of the branch manager managing a particular branch or managing the branches that you have, right? So that's like something we are trying to do. So do you understand? Like, do you understand that first? Let me know if we understand that before we move on. So do you understand what we are trying to do? To Ayobami, Eunice, Eunice must have even gone off. Okay, she's still here. Like, do you understand? I want to make you understand that first before we continue. Okay.
No, no, no.
Okay, so that was like we have how should I put it? Should I use a scale Excel? Hmm. Let me see. Okay, so I have another example since we have ladies on this call. So Tito has a bag, right? Um and she has some things inside the bag. She has let's say wristwatch. She has a note, maybe $100 notes, yes. And what else inside it? I don't know. She has a purse, yes. So she has a purse. She has $100 notes, and she has a wristwatch. Let me write it down because I will forget. So Tito watch notes, $100 notes, and a purse. Now that's Tito's handbag and bag. Now Tito also has a school bag, and inside that school bag she has books, she has pencil, and a watch. Now these are two different bags. Like a handbag is different from a school bag, obviously. Now, what is common in the two bags? I'm asking us a question. Like I want this to be practical. So maybe we can end off on this note. So we want us to be practical. So what's common in the two bags that Sito has?
The watch.
The watch, yeah, the watch is what is common. So if I'm going to connect these two things together now, and I'm like, okay, I need to join these two together, the handbag and the school bag, based on what is common between them. And I'm going to, let's say I want to store it somewhere else. Let's say I want to store it in, I want to maybe give to Eunice. So what am I going to give to her? Give to Eunice based on what is common. So what am I giving to Eunice? Based on I'm supposed to give her based on what is common in the two bags. We are now.
You're giving her watch.
Maybe someone should just do the call like that. So we are giving her
Watch.
a watch, right?
Yeah.
So the
Yes.
watch is what we are giving her because it is present in the handbag and is also present in the school bag. So now we have joined the two bags together. We have joined the two content of the bag together in a way. So this is a type of join, but let's leave that beyond join. Let's just understand we are giving her based on what is just focus on this based on what is common. Now let's say we want to give to Ayobami. So Ayobami based on the handbag. So based on the handbag, what am I giving to Ayobami? Based on the content of the handbag.
Everything in the handbag.
Yeah. So hold on there. So I'm going to give to him everything on the handbag. But also remember that the watch is in school bag too. So I'm going to give to him the same watch, that same watch in the school bag. I'm connecting them together. So I'm going to pick the watch in the school bag and connect it to the watch in the handbag and give everything to him. So that's another example. Then if I do the reverse case, if I say, okay, I want to give, I'm going to take to myself and give to myself based on what is on the school bag, right? And I decide to change, decide to add changes to a purse instead. So what will happen here is I'm going to be giving to myself the book, the pencil, and the purse. But mind you, there's also a purse in this handbag. So this purse in this handbag will in a way be connected to this purse in the school bag. I don't know if that's clear enough. Let me know. Is that simple enough? Okay, Tito, I have one. Eunice Ayobami, any response? I need your
It's
response.
it's 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 clear now. It's all right.
Okay, now let's proceed from there gradually. So we have, like I said, maybe I should display this. Maybe I should call these tables. So let's neglect this. Let's put it down. Let's push it down. Don't want to see it. So let's focus on this first. So let's look at both tables. So no, I'm just going to write it brief. Select all from employee. Then select all from branch. Now, calling this employee, we know the content of what is an employee, right? There's in First Bank, let's look at it as a company's database. So these are all the employee records. And if you call the branch, you know that what you're having on the branch table, they are all different tables, is the records of what you have in the branch. So branch has an ID of 1. That means it's the first one to be created. The branch name is corporate. The manager ID there. The manager managing this branch is 100. This is ID. This is when it started. This is when this started, and so forth. Do you understand that? I actually need this to be very responsive, like so that I won't lose us. Okay, good. Now, this manager ID, do you know that it means something? This manager ID in the branch table, it means something in the employee table. Are you aware? So if you look at, you see 100, you see 102, you see 106. Now, if you come to the employee table and you call it, you see 100, you see 102, you see 106. Can you see that? Hey, okay, good. So now what we want to do is we want to bring what we have inside this branch ID, right? There's 1, 2, 3. We want, okay, let's just do branch name. We want this branch name, right, to show beside the employee table. So we want it to be in a way that we have employee first name, last name, birthday, sex, salary, super ID, branch ID, and branch name. So we don't want just the branch ID alone, we want branch name to be here. Do you understand that? So that's the task that we want to do. So I'm just going to do something simple. In fact, I will limit it to just 1, 2, 3 branch ID and branch name. So we are going to say now select all, no, not select all, select employee ID, right? Select first name, select last name, then select branch ID from employee table. So if you do this alone, you're just going to get these tables. Now I want to join it with this branch. I want the branch details to be showing. So how do I do that? So just I'm going to take this employee and put it here. Employee dot first name, employee dot first name dot this dot this so dot sorry. Now doing this is still going to give me the same results. Alright, but you're going to see in a bit why I'm doing that. Now the branch name I need is not in this table, it's in another table. I need to go and bring it from another table, and to bring it from another table I have to merge it with this table. So to merge it, that was why I had to do join. So let's do left join. I think left join makes it simpler. Left join branch. I'm already going back there. So so branch. Just let's look at what happens. They will now understand how we happened on on um on employee dot emp id equals to branch dot manager id. Then I want the branch name to be here, so I'm going to say branch dot branch name. So let's just see what happens. So this was what it was in the former table, like this is what the current view is showing. If I call this now, you can see what is happening. The branch name has been added, but you are seeing null in some other places. It's because these guys are the managers of, they are actual managers. They're actually managers, so that's why you're having corporates null, Sacrantin, you're seeing null. Now, so to explain what this table is, so this table is only giving us a view that, oh, we have employee, these are the employee ID, these are their first names, these are the last names, these are the branch. And if you have a branch name, so you can say, instead of saying branch name, I think we can put as managers, and I call this X exactly. So this is giving us a table showing us that these um these guys actually manage these particular components. So these guys that you are seeing, so the ones that doesn't have anything means that they are not managing any company, they are not managing any branch currently. Do you get that? Do you understand what we are seeing in the table? Let me make a question clear. Do you understand what you are seeing in that table? Seto AY Eunice. Okay, Ibami says you understand what's on the table. About Seto.
I still don't get it. Can you please explain? Okay, um, employee table. I'm trying to like read it, and the way I understand it, this
Okay,
employee dot employee ID dot employee. Okay, so employee is a
table.
table. So
Yes.
these are the columns,
The
employee ID
columns. Yes.
for him for that table.
Yes.
From
This table.
this table, then
Yes.
left join branch, which is the other table
Yes.
on. So
On.
this is why I don't get it.
Oh, okay. This part.
Yes.
Okay. So, but first of all, I want to understand. Do you understand the table? Like this table, this what we have presented. Is it clear? Like, do you understand what is coming out? I'm not even talking about the structure now. I'm going to explain that now. But I want to know, do you understand what this table actually means? What we are seeing in this table?
I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
Okay. I'm trying to just ask if you understand the view of this table, that what this table is presenting. It doesn't matter what is doing. I'm just saying this table is It contains all the employees,
Mm-hmm.
and we can also see on this side that those that are actually managers. So it means that David is a manager, Michael is a
Mm-hmm.
manager, Josh is a manager.
Okay.
We're not concerned on
Okay.
how we got it. Now to now
Okay.
explain what this now means. So you explain left join branch. So it means
Mm-hmm.
branch is a table. But what this last
Yes.
part now means is that we are merging these two tables based on the employee ID in the employee table and the
Mm-hmm.
manager ID on the branch table.
Because those are the two columns
That's
that are
connected.
connected.
Exactly. That is what is connecting the two tables together. Remember when I showed us this diagram, I said the employee and the branch. So this manager ID is connected. Can see if I highlight on it now, it's selecting the manager ID and it's also selecting the employee ID. So that's what is connecting these two tables together. If you look at the values are actually the same thing. What you have in the branch manager ID, you have in the manager ID you have 102. Let me show you. In the manager ID you have 101, 100, you have 102, and you have 106. If you go to the employee table, you are going to see that same number on the employee ID 100, 102, and 106. So when you now connected it together based on that connection and we run it, you now see that it has added together those tables together. Then that way you have 101 on the branch ID, you can see 101 and corporate, 102 and Sacramento, 106 and Stamford, while the rest is now known.
Okay.
So I feel like we'll grasp it more when we practice, when we just try to practice with other tables. But like I said, I mentioned it earlier, the goal of if it's getting it in SQL, we just practice after understanding it. That's one of the ways that yeah, one of the ways to go about it is just practice, 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 practice.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So I think we'll just call it a day in this place and just press the pause button now. Maybe I'll get the mat. Uh I'll get a graphical interface, maybe a picture, and send it to the group so we can use that to visualize what is actually going on with the two tables. With or when we are what the idea behind joins anyways. Or maybe I'll get an article. So
I even want to ask, is MySQL the most common um what's it called
the
database now? Most
uh, okay,
DBM DB DBMS
DBMS 2.
tool, yes.
Ah,
Because
okay.
what if I don't okay if it's the most common then it's okay. So that means if if we get I mean we get that means we might get to use it more. But if it's not the most common and you come across I don't know, are they similar?
Ah,
Are other tools also similar?
okay, I think I get what you're. I think I know the end point of this. So let me see if I got it right. You're saying that hope is not that MySQL is not like the common. So when I get to learn MySQL finish, we now get to another place where they are not using MySQL and you encounter something else. Hope is not going to be like you're going to have to go through something similar to this.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so in my little experience, um, MySQL is, I would say, It depends. In a small organization, for instance, like a startup, they might use things that are small like MySQL, SQL, right? And the idea is in a standard company, you're not going to even see MySQL. What you are going to see, the real deal is actually going to be a database hosted somewhere else. Now, you are going to need MySQL to now connect to that database hosted somewhere else. For instance, you probably have to create a connection. Oh, can't see my connection because I'm only sharing. Okay, for the purpose of this, because of the question you asked, I'm going to have to let me see. I'm going to have to change a lot of things. Okay, I think it's visible. Okay, let me just change my sharing screen. Let me stop sharing so that I could share my full screen. Now, the idea is whatever these things are intertwined. That's as I've mentioned it before. They're intertwined. Your depends on what you're working on because you can actually not get an organization where they are working with they use MySQL to connect or they use pgadmin to connect to their database online. You can get to an organization like that. But the idea is their database is actually stored somewhere else. But what you need to do is you need a tool to connect with it. So you probably create a connection name. The host name is more of like a port address where you have some things like okay, not how my screen is connected. This is messed up. Okay, let me just leave it like this. So where you have this, then you have to connect with a probably an IP address to a particular port. Then you have probably have a username and a password. So you text it and you connect it. So when you connect to it, you can now interact with that database stored somewhere else using MySQL. You can decide to use pgadmin. You can decide to use pop SQL. There's pop SQL. So you can decide to use that provided it's an SQL database, right? You can connect with it. I think I was hearing some information. I think I got to know that Glue, Glue uses Oracle DBMS. So Oracle DBMS is an Oracle database. So they use that, and you don't have access to that. All they would give you is the IP address, your username, and your password. They already have permissions on it, the list of things you have access to. So that is what that's what you now look for the tool that you now use to connect it to it, right? To work with it basically. So but the idea is like I mentioned earlier, if you know SQL or you can work if you can work with my SQL conveniently, moving to another because there's SQLite. So moving to another database is not going to be an issue because you already understand the syntax, what is required, what you need to do. For instance, now it might be that I think here now I was checking one. What we usually do here is we create schema, right? If you want to create a table, you do create schema, then the name of your table, and you run this, and your table is created. But mind you, I can replace schema with table, and this will create table. I can change this to database, and this will create a database for me. So that's like two ways now. I can use database, I can use schema. That's two ways of doing the same thing. So the idea is the knowledge is transferable. Don't worry, don't be scared. The knowledge is transferable from one database to another database. All what it matters is the tool you are trying to connect. You can see initially I was proposing we use pgadmin, but when some of us did not have was unable to set it up properly, we started using MySQL. Now there's I think Kingsley uses pgadmin, and I think some of the syntax works. He has been working with us the same way we have been going. It's just I said there are some things like I think describe was not working. So you just have to find the keywords that work for that. and use it. So I don't know if that clarifies or demystify what you have in mind.
Okay, we'll cross the bridge when we get there.
Yeah, that's the spirit. That's the spirit. So I think that's it